Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we're going through 10 games
that we are never, ever, ever selling. So the caveat is that we have to own them right now, and we have no intention of ever letting them leave our hands.
Not only no intention, but like, I was trying to be very specific, because this is not just my top 10 list.
No, this is not.
This is not my Grail game list.
Some of these are not on my top 10. These are games that no matter how much someone would pay me, I would not sell them still.
No matter is a very specific term. $1 million for one of these games.
I might. But some of these I was also thinking, how hard is it to get back?
Within the reasonable realm of board game pricing.
Yeah.
There is no conversation that would have us decide to sell instead of keep.
Yeah.
However, if you offered us $10,000 for one of these games, we're probably going to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Except for one of them, which is probably worth about $10,000. Which is a whole different conversation. Yeah, this is going to be fun. So, I kind of took the same approach. I was thinking about rarity.
Yeah.
I was thinking about difficulty in acquiring.
I was thinking about what it means to me, the journey I've had with it, rarity, how hard it was to acquire, the effort I've put into maybe its organization and upgrading.
And I was thinking about just, like, the general ambient joy of the game.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. So, it's funny because I specifically didn't want to talk to him about his list, and he didn't talk to me about my list. And so, but I do know when I was hunting for certain games that I could not find them. So I know our lists overlap just a little bit.
My list is in no specific or particular order.
Same. Mine is not in any order.
I kind of have a grumble full of games.
Yeah. So these are not from 10 to 1 or 1 to 10. These are just games. And it's very different because I was thinking about this. If I was stuck on a desert island, these are not the 10 games I would keep.
No, a lot of my games are actually very hard to play. A lot of my games are near impossible to table.
Yeah. Well, I was always using the caveat that if I was stuck on a desert island, you were stuck with me.
Yeah, sure.
So
a lot of these games still very hard to play.
So these are not the desert island list.
No.
This is I can't put a price on these games.
Yeah.
So, who do you want to start with?
Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You start.
You want me to start?
Get rid of the one that we have that is in common that I know for sure.
It's on the bottom of my pile.
It's in shrink. I couldn't grab the lid and I couldn't grab the bottom because it's all in one. For the record, we grab most of these box tops because a lot of these games weigh a freaking ton. So yeah, grab that game. And I'll start to tell you, this is a game that we were introduced to by a group of our friends. And they introduced us to a game that is so hard to get. We could not get our hands on this game for the longest time. It is out of print, and I'm surprised you managed to get an in-shrink copy of it.
We put out a Grail Games list, and one of our community members reached out and were willing to do a swap.
Yeah.
We're willing to do some tradesies.
It was an expensive swap, but yeah, this was worth it. This is Container, and this game is group dependent. The group you play it with, and that's what you were saying, that some of your games are hard to get up. You are both trying to manufacture crates, sell crates, and transport crates to a center island and sell on them.
It's its whole little microeconomy that the group kind of has to balance themselves.
Yeah, there's very little money that enters the game, and you have to balance the money in the game and come out with the most money. It's fantastic.
Our box is in shrink because, one, we just got it in. I like shrink. And two, the game group that we play with already owns this game. This is really our caveat, our backup, our make sure it's part of our collection because we've had an amazing time playing this. And it's just part of our, like, permanent. It's never leaving. I wouldn't want to sell it. Like, we could probably sell this unopened copy for a decent price on eBay.
I'm for sure, because I know how hard it was to track down a copy,
and it's
let alone an in-shrink copy.
It's just not even a thought. This is the 10th anniversary Jumbo Edition, and we are thrilled to have it. And eventually we'll be hosting our own game groups that play this with us. So. Container.
So that's on both of our lists. So technically we each have 9 more.
So should I still start now?
Yes, you still start now.
All right. I'm going to throw something up. Another one in Shrink. People always give me crap about Shrink, but I see no reason to open a game until you're ready to immediately play it.
How many times have you played this one?
The actual game itself? 4 or 5 times.
Okay, that's impressive for a game that's in Shrink on your shelf.
But yeah, that's the thing that people don't get is I play a lot of games with a lot of people. When I fall in love with a game, head over heels, because we have so many variable game groups, we travel for conventions, I might pick up a game with the knowledge of how to play it and the excitement about playing it, but no necessity to open it up immediately because I might want to unbox it on the channel. I might want to feature content here. And eventually, I hope to get this back to the table. Very specific game. It's a 4X game. It's a chip-based game. It's a GMT game. Who's the same people that made Dominant Species. It is a puzzle. It is math. It is accounting work behind the screen. But I love this game. This is my favorite 4X game. It was on my top 10 list. And it's hard to get. They do print runs of this and the expansions based off of, like, a buy 500 order or something. Oh, wow. So, like, you put in a pre-order, and you
as soon
say...
as they hit 500, they put out an email.
You say, hey... I'm willing to buy this as soon as 500 other people say they're willing to buy this.
Yeah.
And so I got in on one of the last print runs that they had. I'm sure they're still stockpiling and adding numbers, but it's just not readily available. Yeah. And the expansions just aren't readily available. I have a good reason why I haven't opened this, though. Once you do, you need an entirely different and separate storage system for it than what is in the box. Because this entire box is just punchboard. You end up with hundreds of square-sized chip pieces that stack on top of each other and go out into the board. If you don't get Tupperware or some other type of storage solution, you cannot function on this game.
Yeah.
I'll unbox it one day. I'll get it to the table again one day soon. I certainly hope. But I have no interest in getting rid of this. Whether or not I'm playing it, I don't care if it's here for 5 years. I have so many great memories with this, and it's a game that I always want to have in my arsenal. Because for when I find that friend that loves 4X, that wants a 3-hour math game.
I'm interested in the math game, not the 4X. All right. This one.
Never selling?
Never selling.
Never selling.
We just got our hands on a full Kickstarter edition of Zombiecide Black Plague with all the Kickstarter extras, and I mean all the Kickstarter extras.
This is another one that not our Patreon community, but our
grill
community. Our community got to us,
Yeah. And I have had this is one of the few co-op games I actually enjoy. It is a dungeon crawler. It has so many different ways of playing, so many different scenarios. Each game feels different, and with the way that my game group actually makes it harder for ourselves, you never feel like you're winning. You feel like you're going to get overwhelmed by the zombies all the time. Yeah. I like the different factions of zombies in this. I like the wolves, I like the archers, and those are all part of the expansions. And that's why I'm saying that once we got our full Kickstarter exclusive edition, I'm not letting it go. Because I like to play with all those extras. I like to play with all the necromancers and everything, all the abominations, and this is actually on my top 10 because I like this so much. And no matter when we get Undead or Alive and Marvel Zombies, this is keeping its 3 Calyx cubes in our Calyx shelf because I enjoy this so much.
Zombies is going to beat this for me. It just is. Marvel. It's more simplified. It's more refined. I love the IP. Yeah. But I hear you.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've grown on Zombicide since we met.
Yes.
I'm excited to play it with you.
Yes. I just enjoy the variability. Yeah. Variability is one of the key things for me.
All right, let me grab another one. A game you won't see in my top 10, but one that I'm super excited to own now.
Really?
I am a massive Splotter fan. I love so many of their titles.
Predict that there's another Splotter game
I need to get the Great Zimbabwe. My favorite game of all time is a Splotter game. This is Roads and Boats. Yeah. And this is a game that I made fun of for the oblong, insane...
that doesn't fit anywhere.
It doesn't fit anywhere. However, I have been able to play this game. Same game group that taught us Container. And this was such a cool game. It's not perfect. It's a area control.
You need like a plexiglass sheet that fits out onto the board.
It's an area control style game with resource management and Euro mechanics, and you actually draw on the board to create the roads and the pathways and the lines.
The roads and the boats.
It's very, very cool. No other game competes in the same way that it does. There's geese that just float around that you can go ambiently pick up, and if you leave them alone, they combust into fire and knowledge. I love the quirkiness of this game. I love the combative area control nature of it. It is hard to table. It's another one that's hard to table. It's one of the reasons why it won't be on my top 10 or even my top 20. But it is also hard to get. And it is also a game that I have no problem playing once every year, once every 2 years. This is just an amazing title. And so having it in the arsenal, having it on hand is more important than the value of it alone.
I hear. One that, no matter how infrequently we play, I am never selling it. This is Cerebria by Mind Clash
I
games.
considered putting this on the shelf.
And one of the reasons why it is on this list is because Jesse got the Deluxeified Kickstarter edition
fully painted.
with painted miniatures. And so that is one reason it is on this list. Another reason is I have a history with mental health, and this game meant so much. We haven't played it as much as I want to. It is a huge rule book, and it's a
one
big
of the first big games that she learned and taught me.
Yeah, it's one of the and that is one of the fondest memories I have playing games with you. We dived into it on a Saturday afternoon.
8 months ago. No other fond memories.
None fond memories since. This
should work on that.
Even though you can technically play this, I believe 1 to 6, I think I would only play this at 2 players.
Yeah.
I think the way it works, it's area control-ish, hand management, tableau building. There's a lot going on here. And like Mind Clash games, it's a huge chunk to bite off. But I don't care how infrequently we play this. It's not leaving.
Cool. I'm glad to have it on the list. Like I said, it's one that I considered. It's absolutely one that I considered. Let's talk. Is this on your list?
Nope.
Wow. Blood Rage.
I've cooled down on this one so much.
She hasn't played it recently enough to remember how amazing it is.
No,
That's the problem.
There's like 4 other area controls that rank higher than this on my list.
It's not the area control that matters here.
You like the drafting, and there's
It's
other
the
drafting games that matter more to me.
Blood Rage, amazing theme, amazing drafting system, decent area control game. I love this title, and this is the Kickstarter edition. We have all the exclusives, all the minis,
Similar
all the
to
stuff
Zombiecide.
that I don't want to bother tracking down ever again. We even have like the comic book extras, all of it. And I spent a year plus waiting for this to get into my collection. Yeah. It's not leaving now. It's just there. It's stuck like glue. And I'm happy to have it on hand. And you love it every time you remember how great it is.
I enjoy playing it. I'm not gonna ever say no to playing it. I do actually say no to playing it. There's games I put before it. It didn't even make it to my top 10.
Ridiculous.
Oh, but talking about drafting games.
It's amazing how wrong she is.
Talking about drafting games that are never leaving our collection.
Grab. Terraforming Mars?
Terraforming Mars.
But Terraforming Mars can leave once or twice.
No.
They're easy enough to get a hold of.
I don't care. This is one of the first games I ever bought.
Yeah.
The other first game I bought might be on this list as well. This is one of the first games I ever bought. It is my #1 game of all time. This has the best drafting in the world, in my opinion. It's got thematic elements. It's got flavor text. It's got artwork that I enjoy, even though it's not for everybody. It's got resource management. It's got tableau building. It's got area control. It's Euro because you need points to win. This is everything in a game. This is the best game. And I will never have a collection without it. I agree that this is not a special copy, and if I ever, when I deluxify it... You have a
deluxified version, don't you?
I have deluxified board game components. I haven't fully deluxified it. When it gets fully deluxified, it will be even harder to let go of, but there's deluxified tiles that I don't have that I want to get. It's on my list to get and deluxify it completely. This is a game that's not going anywhere. It will always be in my collection.
Cool. It's not on my list. You've grown on it
too.
I have grown on it.
I'm just so proud of the influence I've had on you.
I should play it more than I do, but
you enjoy it.
It's not on my list.
Because your first experience with it was bad because you didn't play with drafting. You didn't know the...
No, my first experience was with drafting. Yeah, my first experience was correct. It was not bad. I've just always been skeptical of it.
Gotcha.
Because people like you like it too much.
You like certain games way too much.
Not me. Not
you.
me. Talking about my #1 of all time. This is going to be another Splotter game. I figured I'd match up with your #1.
Yep.
This is Bus by Splotter, the 20th anniversary edition, the deluxified edition, and
you also have the original in the box as well.
I don't. Well, yeah. In this box.
Yes.
It's they did a reprint of like the classic board. I've never played on the classic board.
It's such a mess.
This is a hard to get game, near impossible nowadays. I know because I keep my eyes out for extra so that I have them to give away here on the channel.
Yeah.
I adore this game.
Yeah.
Adore.
It's growing
head over heels. It is the most elegant game I've ever played, and I cannot imagine something beating it at my #1 slot. Still to this day.
Really?
I have played this with all of our friend groups.
My one criticism of it is that it cannot be played at 2 players.
Yeah. Yeah, but we don't play games together anyway.
We don't.
So, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I love this game. It's remarkable.
Oh, but you know a game that can be played at 2 players?
What?
that you've never beaten me at.
You're not getting rid of Santorini.
I'm not getting rid of Santorini. This is also
Never ever?
Never ever.
Is this the first game you ever bought?
Yes.
So there's some nostalgia there.
So this is nostalgic. This Santorini is an abstract game where you are playing with asymmetric powers and you are trying to prevent your opponent basically from getting to the top of a 3-tier building, and you can cap that building before they get to the top of it. You are maneuvering around a board. You usually have 2, sometimes 3 pieces that you're moving around, and I like the variability of it because every god you play as has a different twist.
One of the first games we ever played together,
Yes.
I believe. Is it the first game we ever played?
I think so.
Because you
I was
were
so
excited.
There's another abstract game that we don't own yet that would be on this list as well called TAC. And I think that is the most elegant abstract.
We'll probably end up getting a deluxified copy of TAC one day.
Yeah.
Because it's a lovely game. I don't like playing abstracts with you, though.
I know.
Do you care to tell the audience why?
He sucks. I love abstracts. I like the thinky puzzle.
So many abstracts
Yes.
to this woman.
Yes.
Just so you all know.
Yes. And it is one of my favorite genres to play.
Miserable.
You taught me War Chest. I beat you every single time we play. You taught me, what was that? Tsuro. I beat you every single time we play. There's very few abstracts that he can get the best of me. But you know who could get the best of me? A 10-year-old.
Excuse you.
Ricky.
Excuse you.
So yeah, this, and it's similar with Terraforming Mars, that I'm not so partial to the copy, but there's also a storybook in here.
Ricky is Board Game Co's daughter, by the way.
There's also a storybook in here. Have you ever read the storybook?
I did, yeah, I read the storybook.
The lore behind the game.
I read it once, and then I said, oh, that's nice.
Do you know what an ideal trip would be? To go to Santorini, Greece, and play Santorini and beat you.
All right, I'm going to bring in a serious game. Another abstract that you might appreciate, Shira.
Echidna Shuffle?
Yeah.
Echidna Shuffle?
Yeah.
The one that you just picked up?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I owned it 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
And I lent it to a friend, because I love sharing games that I'm, like, excited about with people.
Yeah.
And I lent this to a friend something like 2 years ago, and I have no idea which friend or where it went.
Yes.
It is the best traffic jam I've ever played.
It's fun. I will give it to you that.
I have talked very highly about it since the day I got it.
I like that you can play it with a variety of age ranges.
Yeah. And it's a combination of 2 things for being on this list. One, I just don't see it ever leaving my collection. It's simple, it's accessible.
You also can't beat me
and
at
it's
it
nice
either.
and it's nice to have. And 2, it's not that expensive. So like the desire to sell it versus the desire to just have the joy that it brings.
I mean, that's similar to Santorini. It's also not that expensive.
Yeah, it's just lovely, and so I'm very, very happy just having it in the collection. So Echidna Shuffle is sticking there like hot glue.
Alrighty.
What else do you got?
Oh.
I've got 5 more. I've got 5 more.
So do I.
Do you?
Yep.
Is that how many we actually have left?
Yes.
Okay. No.
Yes.
No.
Just because of your reaction is why this is staying.
Really?
This is Canvas and Reflections.
Really?
And I have them together as one because I don't believe you should play base game without the expansion.
There's no way they're not coming out with a 3rd version of it in a big box.
Okay.
You know they will.
I don't care.
We sell all of it then?
No. I love the pictures. I really like, I used to do art when I was younger. I really like art. I am capable of doing both thematically pictures and winning the game, unlike Jesse. But I like the mechanics. I like the card crafting. Honestly, I like the see-through card. I think they're pretty. I like what Reflections does with the double-sided cards and with different goals. And I think it gives you more options and it fixes a lot of things that I was disliking in base game. And mainly because of his reaction, how much he won't play this with me.
I have played this with you.
Yeah, but you don't like to. I have to pull tooth and nail to get you to play this with me. You are actually finding that you enjoy it solo.
The solo puzzle's good.
And so this is not going anywhere, mainly because of your reaction. I actually had it hanging on the wall for the longest time till you took it down. So, Canvas.
Canvas apparently staying forever. I'll evaluate whether or not I am afterwards.
Mythic Mischief.
Mythic Mischief. And specifically, because no one has this game yet,
Prototype.
specifically elements of the prototype copy we have here.
You like those rare things.
I like the weird stuff, right? So this is a prototype copy. It's got the resin meeples in it. But the thing that I will always have, because when I get a finished copy of it in, I might go back to like IV Studios and see if they want their resin copy back.
No.
As long as
I want the resin minis.
As long, like, no, but if they were doing like a museum shelf in their new office or something, as long as whoever we're giving it to
who's going to treat it
is going to treat it, and that would really only ever be the designers of it. I consider it theirs at the end of the day. However,
you told them that under no certain circumstances were they getting this Tomekeeper back.
I have a prototype edition of the Tomekeeper that is purple instead of black.
Yeah.
And I love playing 2-player so much that it's nice to have 2 different looking Tomekeepers down there on the board. The resins are nice, the boards are nice, everything else is nice. It's all 3D printed. I'm going to end up keeping the hefty resin printed Tomekeeper as well.
Yeah.
So we've got both of them.
Yeah.
This box may not stay. This may go back to IV Studios once everything's said and done.
I want the big box to store it all, and they have a big box.
However, Mythic Mischief is never leaving the collection, and specifically some of the prototype edition content that we have will always be here.
I'm not upset that you have that one there.
Yeah, it's an abstract game that I like.
Yes, it is.
Really?
It's one of the abstract games that you can actually beat me.
Really? Valeria Card Kingdoms.
Valeria Card Kingdoms. Do you know why this is on this list?
Because you love the artwork and you sleeved it all.
There you go! You got it! I spent hours. Do you know how many cards are in this game? First of all, I went online and I seeked out all of the expansions. Then I sought out all the little mini card packs that they had to make sure I didn't have any duplicates. And then I sought out the exact...
Did you get all of the mini card packs?
I did.
Every one?
Every one. I believe I have every single one. I have all of the big expansions. I got the big box because I had nowhere to store it anymore. After I sleeved it, I got the sleeves that fit the cards themselves. I've got the components. This was one of the games that got me into the hobby. So it has a huge nostalgia factor. I think it is also a fantastic gateway game and kid-friendly game that adults can have. You are grabbing cards from the center and building up your tableau that everyone is always activating simultaneously. The main player is going to be rolling a set of dice, and based on the numbers that they roll, everyone activates their own tableau. So you're doing something at everybody's person's turn, so you're constantly engaged in the game, and it always, you can choose, the variability is endless. The amount of monsters that they have, the amount of locations to go explore that they have, the different characters in the middle. There's even a campaign to play. This is just, and the artwork.
It's a cool game. It's a lovely game. It definitely wouldn't be on my list.
I know.
I would be perfectly happy selling it.
The amount of work I put into it, no.
I'm also perfectly happy keeping it and playing it, though. Like, this is one we sought out together. This is one I've really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So.
I love the universe it's in. So,
cool.
This one's staying.
All right. Adding on this puppy of a game.
Cool. I'm happy.
It was not on your list?
No.
Cthulu Death May Die. Another one where we have the Kickstarter all in. If you're noticing a trend, some of the CMON games are our absolute favorite.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I am a big advocate of just getting all the CMON stuff is because I have 3 or 4 titles, not all of them are perfect, but I have 3 or 4 titles in my collection that are never leaving specifically because we have all the Kickstarter Deluxe stuff, and we had to seek it out afterwards.
Yeah, and that was a lot harder. And so going
Blood
forward,
Rage,
I think it is a lot easier to get it all in the beginning and then sell it if you don't like it.
Yeah.
But
they sell you a lifetime of game in a single project. Cthulhu's amazing. Cthulhu's a dungeon crawl. It's one of the only Cthulhu-themed things that I like so much.
It's like a big boss battle.
I love the madness track. I love that escalation.
Yeah.
I love the variability in story. I love the episodic packs.
The variability in players.
So much.
I really enjoy this game. I haven't played it enough, honestly, recently.
Sure.
But I'm so happy it's on your list.
Cool. So that's another one for me.
That is another one for you.
We're agreeing on a lot of these.
Yes.
Not all of them. But a decent number. Is this your second to last?
Third to last.
Is this your third to last?
Yes,
okay.
You went first. This is a placeholder. Do you know why it's a placeholder?
Because you have a deluxeified copy coming in.
I have a deluxeified copy.
You don't actually care about this version of the Castles of Burgundy.
No, I don't really care about the 10th anniversary version of
it. I care about
the game.
Awaken Realms.
The Awaken Realms version with the miniatures.
Which you don't even know is going to be amazing, but you know the game is amazing.
I know the game is amazing, and I know that anything that eases the accessibility of going into it, the slightly larger tiles, the different artwork, I think the artwork is actually prettier from what I've seen online. I think that the yellow tiles that have what it does on the back of it, the ease, the storage, I think Awakened Realms does really fantastic.
They do great
work in components, and for a game that is on my top 10, I'm ecstatic that they did this campaign. I can't wait for it to get here, and this is kind of just a placeholder because once that game enters our house, you cannot pay me to get rid of it.
Not going?
No.
Okay.
Are you upset?
No, it's a great game, and I'm looking forward to the Awakened Realms version of it. I didn't expect it to be on your list, but I'm not upset at all. All right, let me go get my number 2.
Don't step on boxes.
Oh, so many boxes to step on. Let me just here. My number 2. Oh, that came very close to the edge of the table there. That was terrifying. My number 2 is Crokinole. This is actually.
I'm surprised you didn't grab our board.
Well, no, this is actually the board that we're giving away on the channel, which we're excited about. However, Crokinole's amazing. The best dexterity game, one of the best late night games, one of the best relaxing games, probably the most accessible game that we have in our collection. The game that can bridge the gap between any range of player. You can sit down, you can have fun, or you can really dive into a strategic, combative game session. It's a game that will never.
It's tournaments. It's professional.
I could leave board games and still want Crokinole hanging on the wall.
Yeah. You've said everything. I will not dispute. I didn't honestly, so when we were preparing the list, I came upstairs and I saw it up here and I was like, I forgot it. I am so happy it's on your list. I forgot it. And I was like, I need this on my list, but I already have 10. So what am I going to do?
It's amazing. All right,
I know there's some overlap.
This is a Tracy Crokinole board, by the way, from tracyboards.com. The best in the industry. We've tried out a few different boards, even one that my friend made me. This one is the gold standard.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to take it off camera if you want to talk about your next one.
Next one is purely from the enjoyment that I have. This is Unsettled by Orange Nebula. And this game, one of the first times I played it, Did you just break the board we're giving?
It's actually perfectly fine. It just slid on the hardwood floor, which seems logical. Unsettled.
Unsettled. My enjoyment from playing with Jan that time we played, and this is also another cooperative game. There's few cooperative games that I actually like. This Zombiecide, I was going through the list today mentally, and I like the variability.
I didn't know you liked Unsettled this much.
Every single planet.
Because I've played with West and Devin, had great times.
I like it a lot. The story, the theme. I loved reading the rule book, even. The rule book had so many little flavor texts. The mechanics involved. The different feels to the planets. And I'm so excited that we have the new planets coming to our collection.
What you're saying is you and I need to play this.
Yes. I would love to play this.
That makes sense.
I also think ONEB is a fantastic publishing company.
Good people.
They're fantastic people. I really like, I like their game a lot. I think it's cute, charming, and a little crazy sometimes. Like the planet that you guys played one time with the water, and the way it makes you shift your mind, and you kind of go a little crazy. You're freaked out.
It's cool.
It's weird.
It's a very cool modular game system.
I like it a lot. So, it's not going.
So, I always have a saying or a theory that, and I was doing this with Wes.
Your last game, right?
Yeah. My last game is my game 0. Probably predictable, but I have something special to show you that I haven't actually shown off for a while because it's kind of hard to lug around. Yeah. I have a theory that Kingdom Death can fit on every list I ever made. Yeah. So, list off. What's a top 10 list?
Dexterity game.
Kingdom Death. No. Kingdom Death is both a combination of miniature building, which requires intricate dexterity and hand-eye coordination as you actually create the miniatures themselves. Yeah. And then when it gets to the actual gameplay itself, the combat, you're shifting things around on the board. You need spatial awareness. It's a slow dexterity game, but there's definitely dexterity there. Abstract game. Kingdom Death at the end of the day comes down to just a logic puzzle. It's a mathematical grid. You're pairing up different combining effects, and you're trying to do math versus math. Everything else is theme that's pasted on top of it.
I'm thinking of the different competitive.
competitive. Kingdom Death is actually a fight to keep your creature alive. Along with that, the second
Your
area...
creature? You mean your player?
Your player alive, where everyone else dies. Yeah. The other thing is, like, most AI-driven games are really just the designers putting themselves into the game. And so when you think about a design in that sense, you're playing against the designer, trying to math your way. And so if you win, you're beating this competitive mode against them.
Area control.
The same way that you do in a video game. Area control. I mean, zone control and tactical region positioning for...
You are stretching this here.
No. So, like, think about the thing like a stone face, right? Protecting the area around a stone face to allow your archer to position themselves on top of that to get strategic shots off on some of these creatures. You cannot deny that there's a bit of area control in that.
Tableau building. Drafting.
I mean, tableau building's easy. It's your gear grid. Drafting is simple. Your card play...
That's not drafting.
Oh, there's so much...
You don't play cards.
There's a ton of drafting in this. There's a ton of drafting.
Points. I can come up with so many lists.
Saying.
I agree that it hits the spot. And
I can stick it on everything, but let me show you exactly what it is that I'm not...
Did you see that I just grabbed my last game?
I did. Also Kingdom Death?
Also Kingdom Death. I had to grab this version because I couldn't get the big box off of our shelf. But this is his binder. And I was going to specify with Kingdom Death that it is all the deluxeifications and organizations that you have done. This binder with the sleeves that you went out to research and find the sleeves that would work, that both you can take them out and have the gear grid portable.
So this is my custom-made hardwood box for Kingdom Death Monster with a full copy of Kingdom Death inside. That is a handmade leather binder. And just recently, we have every single core creature in Kingdom Death fully bronzed. Everything from the core game. That's not expansion characters.
That weighs 9 pounds.
Yeah.
This is heavy.
That's intense. This is the thing that I'm saying. If you reached out to me and you said, "Hey, I'll pay you 10 grand for your deluxeified Kingdom Death," I just don't think I would do it. I can't get this again.
This is one of a kind.
Yeah.
There is not a single other one of these in the world.
Yeah. And so this is such a grail game for me. This is my game number 0. Your game number 2 of all time now. And
that's mainly because of the way you've taught me and the experiences I've had with you.
Yeah.
It is so much fun, and I've grown so attached to the settlement that I built. You know our settlement's name? I believe our settlement's name is Cerebria.
Oh, yeah?
Because we played this right after we were playing Cerebria.
That makes sense.
So this all circles back.
So, game number 0, Kingdom Death, but not just generic Kingdom Death, the deluxeified, bronzed and leathered and wood. Yeah. The most invested game in my collection.
I like how we started this off with the same game and ended with the same game.
We're so cute.
We're so cool.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here.
Whatever the case, whatever you do.
Remember.
To do the important thing.
Let us know what your, crazy game is. What's the thing that for you, no one could talk you out of it?
We'll see you next time.
Bye.